Bom dia a todas e
Bom
todos.
dia.
Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to this important webinar from Vision to Action, inviting all to join the Climate Action Agenda journey to Belém. I'm Daniela Lerario, and I'm pleased to be your moderator for today's session. I represent the Climate Champions team, supporting the high-level champions and advancing the Climate Action Agenda. Today's event is organized by the COP30 Incoming Presidency, the Climate High-Level Champions, and the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC. Before we begin, a quick reminder, interpretation is available in Portuguese, Spanish, and French. You may select your preferred language channel at any time. This is a defining moment to come together around one shared goal: driving the implementation of climate solutions at scale, anchored in the 30 key objectives of the COP30 Climate Action Agenda. The incoming presidency is working to ensure that the action agenda, together with all other dimensions of COP30, contributes to putting into practice what we have collectively agreed so far. Standing on the shoulders of its predecessors, the AA seeks not only to complement negotiations, but to accelerate implementation, leveraging the global stocktake as its backbone. Supporting the incoming presidency's priorities, the COP30 Action Agenda will endeavor to address three major challenges: aligning the action agenda with existing COP and Paris Agreement commitments, building on current initiatives to speed up scale climate action, and ensuring transparency, tracking, and accountability for pledges and initiatives. In this spirit, today we will be discussing the potential of climate action agenda to deliver the global stocktake outcomes with Ambassador André Corrêa do Lago, learnings from the past 10 years and ways forward with Daniele Violetti, opportunities to engage with the unified climate action agenda with Dan Yoship, how it connects to people's lives with Negar Alpadarai, and an overview of COP30's action agenda with Ana Toni and Bruna Cerqueira. This will be followed by a short Q&A session, and we invite you to submit your questions through the Q&A function on Zoom or through the YouTube chat. In case we're not able to address all questions live, we will share a follow-up email with frequently asked questions document for all registered participants. With no further delay, it is my pleasure to welcome Ambassador André Corrêa do Lago, COP30 President, to present the COP30 Climate Action Agenda and share the ways in which it is breaking new ground for collective climate action. Ambassador, the floor is yours.
Hello, how are you all? I'm delighted to join you today. I don't know what's happening. There are some hearts floating around me. I hope you're not seeing that. Something strange is happening on my phone. It's full of little hearts. I hope you're not seeing that. I'm really very excited that the reaction to our proposal of this action agenda. I'm sorry, I cannot stop laughing. I'm completely covered by hearts here. Let me try to get rid of that. I don't know. I don't know what. Anyway, I'm delighted that the reaction to our proposal of action agenda that is much more structured and that really builds upon what's done before COP20, well, before COP30, has been really very positive. And so I believe that today's meeting can be a very important step for more people to join in this wonderful opportunity. And I have to thank you all.
Ambassador, we're not listening to you anymore.
So unmute,
Maybe.
Ambassador.
I think you just got muted.
Yeah. Hi. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you again.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah. So I'm so excited that that we have a team that is getting along so wonderfully, and between Nigar and Dan, I think that there is such a positive spirit that we are really progressing very positively in this operation. I want to mention that most of you already know very well the COPs, well the process. So I want to stress a little what is different, what we're doing differently, that I believe is something that has been working quite well, is the fact that there is a very big difference between the negotiations that are led by diplomats and delegates and by countries to we call implementation. And I think that from the beginning, the idea of the action agenda was to bring these other actors that somehow participated in the negotiations because they would act with their governments, they would try to give some orientation to their governments, or have their government take into consideration their concern. But there is a dimension that we believe we have not structured well enough regarding implementation, which is what we're trying to do now. Let's concentrate on what we have already agreed, and based on what we have already agreed, let's present the opportunities that are there for the private sector, for universities, for the civil society, and for subnational governments. And although many COPs have been COPs of implementation, I think that COP30 has the advantage that there were so many more negotiations since the other COPs, and that that COP28 had the GST, and COP29 had the NCQG. So we have already overcome some of the most complex steps in negotiations. So we do have a different circumstance than other COPs, and we have to take this opportunity to do things differently towards more action, more urgently. So that's what we believe that we are achieving, is that we are explaining better where the other actors can participate, what the other actors can do. And I'm extremely happy with this collaboration, and the Secretariat of the UNFCCC that knows, that are the experts on how COPs work, have been also extremely constructive, because they also saw this opportunity on how we could create a new dimension. And this new dimension is not reinventing the wheel. On the opposite, is built on what has already been done, but with the advantage that we have more things that have been negotiated. So this step of a more structured action agenda was so well received that I'm very optimistic that we will be able to add a new dimension to the COP that fulfills one of President Lula's greatest expectations about the COP, which is that we can explain what are these documents, all these documents we have negotiated. We have to explain to the other stakeholders what we can do with it, what we must do with it, and all the doors that are being opened for action. At the same time that science tells us that we have little time, and that everything that we do as soon as possible will have a much better impact. So thank you very much for all to join us here, and I'm delighted to be here with you.
Thank you, Ambassador. Obviously, a lot of support from who's watching for setting the stage and sharing the presidency's vision for the climate action agenda, and how is it different this time. So now let's hear from Daniele Violetti from UNFCCC, bringing reflections from the past decade and the way forward. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all participants. And I see such a large number is really great. And I'm very, very pleased to join Ambassador Dolago and Antonio and their level champions in this important event looking at the global climate action. And of course, thanking them for convening this with us. If we look at the past 10 years, is it clear that the global climate action agenda has been a vital space for mobilizing ambition and driving action, and has been supporting parties in many different ways. Looking back from the creation of the Marrakesh Partnership, which brought the initiative and coalition under one umbrella, to campaigns as the Climate Ambition Alliance, the Race to Zero, to roadmaps to support achieving these, such as the Climate Action Pathways and the 2030 Climate Solution. And so a lot has been done and has been successful. However, there are still areas for improvement, opportunities to support the continued increase of ambition. And this year particular is the year of the new NDCs, and we all hope that the action agenda will be an important and critical element to support the delivery and the implementation of this new NDC. So we heard very clearly from the incoming COP president the vision on the action agenda, and as we look towards COP30 and beyond, it will be more important than ever to build on these lessons and strengthen the global climate action agenda as a driver of implementation and impact, and including through one unified global action agenda that really provides this framework to support the delivery and implementation of the negotiated outcomes of the new UNFCCC process. So on our side, we look at three priorities that really stand out and require our collective action. The first one is on enhancing transparency on progress. So we all know that we must move beyond pledges to delivery. And what is important is tracking commitments transparently, strengthening mechanisms to follow up progress, and ensuring that tools like our Global Climate Action Portal or NAFCA and other tools help us to understand the real progress. The second point is on increasing coordination, and there are so many initiatives that exist today in the overall ecosystem, and to not dilute energy and trust, we feel that it's really important to enhance the coordination and the need to focus on a coherent narrative, and of course the critical and vital role of the presidencies and the climate high-level champions is obvious there. Additionally, and the last point is really we look at how to strengthen the delivery. So if we look at the process as you move forward, it's not that we need more complexity, but we really need to evolve and enhance it into a framework that makes it easier for stakeholders to take action, for government to align, and for everybody to see and deliver the results that are needed. So as we look forward to Belém and beyond, the Global Climate Action Agenda will be definitely critical to achieve a robust and concrete implementation as we move forward. So on our side, the UNFCCC and the Secretariat, we really look forward to work with all of you to make all this a reality, not for our side just to support the presidency and the changes, but to support all stakeholders to ensure that all together we can work in this vision brought by the incoming presidency, the WTO, and we can achieve at least the implementation of the Paris Agreement. So thanks again for having me here, and look forward to the discussion. Thanks.
Thank you, Daniele, for these important insights connecting negotiations and action. So next, I would like to invite Ben Joshua to share how stakeholders can engage with this unified climate action agenda. Ben, welcome. Maybe.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Ambassador Ana, Tony, Daniele Violetti, Nigar Padarai, and Dani Lerario. Very happy to be here with you. We stand at the threshold of a decisive new chapter in global climate cooperation. The COP30 Action Agenda is a practical, inclusive, and science-informed framework to accelerate delivery. Rooted in the outcomes of the global stocktake, it provides structure and focus for what parties have already agreed as priorities. It mobilizes governments and non-state actors alike, with coalitions as the driving engine of climate action. This agenda brings governments, businesses, and civil society together across 6 strategic axes, spanning mitigation and adaptation, as well as the finance, technology, and skills building needed to make change possible. Across communities, countries, and companies, we already see progress and significant benefits from climate solutions in each of these 6 axes. In the realm of transforming energy, industry, and transport to clean energy, this is now the norm, with 2 trillion invested in renewables last year. In Brazil only, solar installations doubled in just 18 months, but it's still not enough. We must scale investment to meet global stocktake outcomes. When it comes to stewarding forests, oceans, and biodiversity, natures provide both protection and opportunity, capable of generating 33 million jobs by 2030. Private finance for nature has already increased 11-fold since 2020. As for transforming agriculture and food systems through initiatives advanced by government and non-state actors on food, nature, and resilience, farmers, indigenous people, and investors are advancing regenerative practices that cut emissions, build resilience, and increase economic results. When we speak of building resilience for cities, infrastructure, and water, the race to resilience is delivering on the collective goal of increasing people's resilience together with cities, regions, and local communities, while the Charm Adaptation Agenda is accelerating action and finance from insurance, early warning, and climate-proof infrastructure. When it comes to fostering human and social development, people-first solutions, from education to health resilience, among others, could generate 24 million jobs by 2030. And finally, the importance of unleashing enablers and accelerators. Finance, technology, and capacity building remain the cross-cutting levers of change. In 2022, 200 billion was invested in nature-based solutions, but we must go much further. To succeed, we must focus on 3 imperatives. First, deliver real progress through initiatives and coalitions. The Action Agenda works with hundreds of initiatives and coalitions bringing together governments, businesses, investors, and communities to accelerate implementation. Each has a role to play in energy, food, forests, or cities. This is not about more diagnostics or endless debate, but about real-world action that improves sustainable socioeconomic development. If you're part of an initiative, I invite you to align your work clearly with the 6 axes. Join an activation group to further collaborate with others working on the same topics, and report your progress. Second, visible, practical leadership from non-state actors. To CEOs, mayors, governors, and civil society leaders, I invite you to join us in Belém to showcase your practical, scalable solutions, to inspire others and give policymakers actionable proof that ambition is becoming implementation. Show up, step up, and invest in people, in nature, and in the transition. Our Granary of Solutions will highlight models ready to be scaled, elevating platforms like the COP30 Business Action Bank and the Subnational Solutions Bank. Third, mobilize finance where it matters most. Finance is not only about numbers, it is about a sustainable future. We need scaled public and private capital with new instruments and blended models that channel resources toward resilient development. I invite financial actors to bring innovation and capital to COP30 to help scale solutions that assure sustainable socioeconomic development over time. This is how we turn ambition into alignment and alignment into acceleration. Together, these efforts will shape a streamlined, solutions-oriented global climate action agenda, fit to deliver the transformations we need in this decisive decade. At COP30, we will build on this foundation with the presidency, the COP29 climate high-level champion, UNFCCC, and all of you, carrying forward a shared vision for the action agenda: practical, efficient, coherent, inclusive, and science-driven. The time for the action agenda Mutirão is now. Join us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dan, for highlighting the important role of non-state actors in making this agenda real and practical. Now let's turn to Nigara Padarai, who will reflect on how climate action agenda connects directly to people's lives. Nigara, welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, dear friends, it's such a great honor to be here, and I'm really amazed and inspired to see so many people joining us online today. Thank you so much. It shows your dedication, your interest, and it inspires us all to come up with better solutions for all of you together. Dear Excellencies, colleagues, friends, it's a privilege to join you today as we advance together on the road to Belém and to reflect on what the COP30 Action Agenda really means in practice. In 10 years since the Paris Agreement, we have come a long way. The past decade has shown that when we act together, we can shift the trajectory. COP29 helped catalyze this momentum with pledges on energy, resilience, on finance, from the energy storage and grids pledge to the multi-sectoral pathways declaration for resilient cities, to the landmark 300 billion financial commitment that laid the foundation for the 1.3 trillion goal announced in Baku. Action Agenda has grown big, with many initiatives presented by presidencies. These were important steps forward, and now COP30 is building on that legacy, and it's the implementation COP. The new Unified Action Agenda is about pulling efforts together under one coherent, transparent, and implementable framework, aligned with the Paris Agreement and the outcomes of the global stocktake. And it's focused on ensuring follow through and delivery on pledges, commitments, and agreements made at previous COPs. Above all, the Action Agenda is about impact on people's lives. It's not abstract. It is about delivering solutions that make daily realities safer, healthier, and more resilient, from affordable, clean energy and climate-smart agriculture to stronger housing and more inclusive cities. When we track and scale climate action, the benefits come clear: not just lower emissions, but healthier economies, stronger communities, and lives saved. Through Race to Resilience, for example, more than 2,000 cities and local governments are building climate-ready communities with early warning systems, with resilient housing and stronger infrastructure. This is how adaptation delivers in more secure livelihoods and people who feel safer in the face of rising risks. I want to highlight one group at the very heart of this people-centered approach: small and medium enterprises. SMEs are the backbone of economies, representing 90% of businesses and over half of the global employment. They are on the front lines of both climate risks and climate solutions. That's why we launched the Climate Proofing SME campaign with 46 collaborators. It has really reached nearly 90 million SMEs over 100 countries. Its focus is threefold: supporting large companies to build resilient supply chains by helping SMEs adopt climate action, mobilizing finance from development banks and investors to SMEs in emerging economies, and building capacity by equipping SMEs with the tools and guidance they need. And third, the Action Agenda is about linking ambition and delivery through campaigns that connect the global action. That connect the global action to people-centered approach. Today, my invitation is simple. If you are a community leader or initiative, align your work with 6 axes of the COP30 Action Agenda to directly support the outcomes that governments agreed to work towards. Join the activation group to deepen collaboration with others working on similar solutions, and track and share the progress you are making and how it improves lives. If you are SME, help build their capacity, mobilize finance, and place them at the forefront of the climate action. If you are part of a campaign or coalition, connect ambition to delivery and help make climate action visible, relatable, and life-changing. This is how the action agenda becomes real, by linking solutions to the lives they improve, the jobs they create, and the communities they protect. As the climate high-level champions prepare for the next 5 years of work, our focus is on ensuring that the action agenda is fit for purpose, grounded in science, and capable of driving transformative action, coherent, complementary, and accelerating delivery of Paris Agreement. Together, we can turn ambition into acceleration and acceleration into transformation. The time for the action agenda, Muchirao, is now. Thank you. Obrigada.
Obrigada, Nigar. Thank you for reminding us that this work is ultimately about impact in people's daily realities. So to close this round, I invite Ana Toni and Bruna Cerqueira to present an overview of the COP30 Action Agenda, its structure, and the process behind it. Ana, welcome. Bem-vinda.
People, and very nice to be with Niga, Daniospi, Andre, Daniele, and everyone. So my job in this call is to present the action agenda. You heard a lot from the different champions here about the action agenda. So my job together with Bruna is to present the action agenda to all of you so that you can engage. So if we can start the presentation, please. We can go next to the action agenda itself. So you heard a little bit about our approach. Please, next. Let us tell you a little bit what we're trying to do as COP30 presidency. Ambassador André Corrêa do Lago repeated all the time what our main goals as COP30 presidency is to reinforce multilateralism, connecting climate with real lives of people, and above all, accelerating implementation of the Paris Agreement. This is our overall goal. As you know, we, as the work of COP30 presidency, we divided that in 4 different pillars: the Leader Summit, negotiation, action agenda, and mobilization. In this call, we'll be focusing on the action agenda part, and hopefully other calls we will look at the other pillars of our work. Next, please. On the action agenda, as was said by many in this call already, we build upon the work that has been done for the last 10 years of very successful COP presidencies and high-level champions. The action agenda is started bringing the voluntary actions of civil society, business, investors, cities, states, alongside with other countries. So we are building on the initiatives of the 10 years, but as we close the rulebook of the Paris Agreement, we thought it would be also time to take stock of what has been done and how can we improve going forward. Next. Therefore, the structure that we have been built, please next, is quite simple, but is something that is very important. At COP28, we have all agreed upon the first globe stocktake, and we are using the globe stocktake to identify global progress and also the gaps that was needed for the delivery of urgent climate action. So by bringing to the action agenda, the global framework of the global stocktake, we are asking civil society, private sector, local governments, as well as other governments that wanted to go faster can implement and help to implement the global stocktake. We have done so by creating 6 thematic axes and 30 key objectives and a big granary of solutions. The global stocktake is a document I would encourage everybody to read. There is 196 paragraphs of the global stocktake, and what we have done is taken from that the more thematic and objectives of the Globe Stocktake. Yes, next, please. So as I said, we divided the work into those 6 axes, or 5 plus 1. The first one on transitioning energy, industry and transportation. Second, stewarding forest, ocean and biodiversity. The third one, transforming agriculture, food systems. The fourth, building resilience for cities, infrastructure and water. Number 5 is fostering human and social development, very important. And obviously the cross-cutting one, which is unleashing the enablers and acceleration, including finance, technology, and capacity building. As you can see, you see little numbers under each of the axes there. Those little numbers that you see are the paragraphs of the Globe Stocktake from where we took the goals that we are going to be presenting. So COP30 presidency thought, as we have agreed on all those paragraphs, what we needed now is to implement them. And we are looking at all the paragraphs of the Globe Stocktake, the ones related to mitigation, adaptation, as well as the means of implementation. Next. So as we look at those 6 axes, we had to choose some of the objectives of those 6 axes. And again, taken from the paragraphs of the Globe Stocktake, we chose those 30 key objectives that you see there. For each of the axes, we chose 3 or 4, and you can see each of them there: tripling renewable energy, doubling energy efficiency, efforts to conserve and protect nature, ecosystems and biodiversity, or promoting resilient health. So we have 30 of them, again, taken from the Globe Stocktake. Very, very important for us is that for COP30, we elevating the action agenda that begins and ends with people. So although you'll see that for us, women, all the mood stakeholders, migrants, children, they all will be helping us to deliver those goals. So they are, as a cross-cutting, they are the leaders of any of those objectives in terms of how we're going to implement and come up with solutions. We need to take their views into account. From those 30 objectives that you see there, and we'll be very happy to obviously send you those presentations so you can study some of those key objectives. We are looking at solutions. We know that for each of those objectives, there are solutions, and what we want is to bring the solutions that will deliver those 30 key objectives that have been chosen. Next, please. So I will give you some example so that you can see the types of solutions. So for example, on the axis 1, which is the energy, transportation and industry, on the first objective, which is tripling renewables, doubling energy efficiency, it's just as an example here, 3 solutions have been chosen. For example, expansion and resilience of power grids, a very important solution that we already know needs to be done. Minerals and metals for transitioning and circularity, again, another solution. And efficiency for cooling and refrigeration equipment. So those are the types of solutions that we are going to go forward with. So for each objective, we are expecting perhaps 3, perhaps 4 solutions that can be scaled, that already exist, that can be accelerated, and we needed to answer ourselves why those solutions have not taken as yet the scale that need, and how can they take the scale and be accelerated. Those are the questions that are going to be answered by each of the groups. Next, please. So the process, how are we going to get there? So what have we done so far, and how are we going to go forward? As I said, we wanted to build on the past great work that the action agenda has been done, by all the different COP presidencies. So we looked back in the last 10 years with the help of CCT, as well as obviously UNFCCC, all our climate champions, and we have identified that there has been more than 600 initiatives since the Paris Agreement. Many of those initiatives led from the private sector, by civil society, by subnational governments. So we were able to identify these 600. We then tried to contact all those 600 initiatives to see which ones are still active, which ones are no longer active. And we were able to identify, with the help also from BCG, more or less 300 of those. 300 of those initiatives that were born 10 years ago are active. And this is really good news. So half of those voluntary initiatives are still very active. And we wanted to now get those 300 initiatives, how they related to those 30 objectives that has been set up. So we are going to be publishing that today in our website. So I encourage all of you to look at the website so you can learn about the 300 as well as this 30 activation groups that has been set up to reorganize the 300 activities. Next, please. So how are we going to deal with those 30 key objectives that are undergoing 4 different steps? First is what I just mentioned. We need to coordinate ourselves, so we identify existing initiatives launched in previous COPs, those 600. We look at and contacted 300 is still alive. Then initiatives that have been reporting their delivered under the UNFCCC system. The UNFCCC has a system, is the Nazca platform. Some initiatives have been reporting their results to the Nazca platform, others have not. We encourage all of those 300 that we saw that are active to report to the UNFCCC system so that we can give transparency to all the initiatives. Then this is what is being done already. And now we're creating this Granary of Solutions, this new platform through a social campaign. We asking everyone, and I would be very happy if all of you can help us throughout those objectives. There will be a Granary of Solutions platform for each of the solutions that we have set. For example, in grids, for example, on energy efficiency, we wanted and need to learn about the solutions that are there so that we can work together to scale them. And we will have that in a platform so that everybody can see. Based on that, which is more or less organizing the experience that we have, we go to step number 4, a very important step towards COP30. What we want is to mobilize all public and private stakeholders, civil society, obviously business, to build on that collective voluntary actions from the past and build plans to accelerate the solutions. So from the learning that we had from the past, all the solutions that we will have on the platform, how can we then, towards COP30, look at plans to accelerate and scale those solutions? Next, please. Please, next. So just as just an example, for example, on the that we were looking on the efforts to conserve, protect, restore nature. The secretariat together, you can see we have a secretariat for each of the objectives. In this case here, you see the name of the people, the name of the organizations. There's always an international organization helping us. Our climate envoys will be with us, the UNFCCC, the Marrakesh Partnership. They created a secretariat for each of the objectives. Then we brought together all the initiatives from the past that, as you can see, that had been working with that objective to work together with us, and then together we will be developing the plans to accelerate bigger solutions, bringing everybody together. This work has been underway, and I already used this opportunity to thank the work of everybody that's helping us, because it's a huge endeavor putting all of this together, but it's already underway, and we have now been able to have the first meetings of all those objectives here. Next, please. So as I mentioned, the Granary of Solutions is a very important part of the action agenda. Will be an online platform to put up all the solutions related to the different key objectives. And we're going to be doing also a social campaign, a social media campaign, to ensure that we have as many solutions as possible. Next, please. Just getting there. On very important. I hope many of you will be coming to COP30 in Belém. It will be very important, your presence also there. We know COPs as a process, and you can join the action agenda from wherever you are. But if you come to COP30 to Belém, we will have 6 spaces, thematic spaces, pavilions, to debate each of the axes. Those pavilions will be there. 6 of them. There will be more than 60 meetings throughout the 2 weeks of the COP to present those solutions, those plans to accelerate, to debate the Granary of Solutions for the key objectives, so that we will give visibility. We will also going to be using the high-level impact events featuring in all different spaces of COP30 as well, for the key objectives that have been chosen. So we will have, the action agenda will have for the first time a space to be debating each of those axes there. Next, and I am almost finishing, I know I'm taking more time, but it's complicated, so we needed to go forward on the timeline. So as I said, in August, the activation groups have been established. The initiatives have been identified. Activation groups have been published. Today we're having this webinar, and now coming September, we start debating the initiatives reports on KPIs. We need milestones, we need KPIs to see that we are going to go forward in terms of the impact of each of those solutions. The Granary of Solutions portal will be launched in September, and we'll do the campaign. We'll have the Climate Week in Africa by the UNFCCC, a very important moment for us, as well as the New York Climate Week, in which we will use the time to debate many of the key objectives with the group that has been established. In October, many of the initiatives are going to start presenting the acceleration plans. All of these will be also on the website that everybody can follow and contribute. And we'll have the pre-COP here in Brasilia. And obviously, we'll come to November. The NASCA platform will be populated with all the initiatives. The yearbook will be launched, and obviously we'll have then COP30 in Belém, with all of you also being there. I wanted the work, the timeline doesn't end in November. And I think this is really important. The action agenda is ongoing, and we'll continue bringing solutions. We will continue bringing the acceleration plans after November. COP30 from Brazil, the presidency will start in November and will end in November 2026. So we look forward very much, continued working with you after November as well. And now I would like to pass to Bruna Cerqueira, that will tell us how you can get involved. So thank you very, very much. And thank you, Bruna, and the entire team for all the work that has been done. So please, Bruna, on how people can get involved. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ana. And it is really great for us to have the opportunity to have this conversation with all of you today. So thank you again for joining us in this journey. I'm Bruna Cerqueira. I'm working in the COP presidency team, and our team working on the action agenda is a very large one, as you have seen. All that Ana and our high-level champions and Ambassador André has presented. This is a massive effort, and it's a multi-realm effort with everyone needing to come to board. So we are quite a big team here with the high-level champions team, and a lot of colleagues in UNFCCC and others supporting us. So I think just going very to practical terms on how you can join and participate, there is a process, as Ana has explained, for the initiatives to join. And this was something that we have done an exercise of mapping, because there's no central information about this. So we have really gone to public and tried to research as much as we could, with a lot of efforts from the high-level champions team, to identify these 600 initiatives, bring these 300 in. But we know that I'm sure we've lost some of these initiatives along the way. So if you are an initiative, a collective initiative, meaning bringing together a number of businesses or a number of universities or a number of subnational governments or civil society organizations with a specific purpose of implementation that can be monitored over time, please do tell us if we forgot about you. There will be a form for you to submit your request to join the activation groups that we will be sharing after this webinar. So it will be a part of an email going out to everyone who participated. If you are an initiative, please do tell us if we've missed you out, and you can join the process. But if you are an individual business or individual university or a civil society organization or a subnational government, I just wanted to set out, I think, 4 very practical things that we would like to invite you to do. The first is we will publish today, as Ana has said, a list of these initiatives that have agreed to join these activation groups. They will be the basis of the work that we do on the action agenda. So if you are that individual stakeholders, we invite you to strengthen these initiatives and strengthen this movement by either joining them or identifying those that you're already a part of and really being active in working with them to develop collective results. This will be in our website today. Then we will be inviting them to report on their results publicly through the UNFCCC systems. And for that, it is very important that what you are doing is a part of what's being reported collectively. So act, if you're investing, please do say that you're investing. If you are generating knowledge, if you are generating results on the ground in your communities, please do report these to these initiatives so that this can make the way into the collective results that we're able to showcase globally, and that movement are really elevating and helping us deliver the global stock take. The third thing that we'll invite you to do is to share your solutions. We are sure there are so many solutions already happening on the ground. We really want to give visibility to this. And this will be done, again, through the initiatives. So there are a number of calls from the initiatives already for you to share your cases. To use one example, I know that WBCSD, the coalition of the businesses, is putting out a call for their members to share their case studies of what's happening on the ground. You can go through one of those, or we will also be launching a social media campaign in September. So stay tuned to the COP30 channels, to the high-level champion channels. And as we launch that campaign, please do share with us your solutions, what is happening on the ground, what you're doing, and how you are supporting this agenda. And finally, as we build these plans to accelerate solutions, we also want to invite you to actually strengthen these plans, join them, and support us in delivering those plans. These will be plans that hopefully will have collective actions from countries, from subnational governments, from private sector, and from all actors of society. And what we're trying to respond, we want to know from you, what are the barriers that are preventing you from progressing faster? And we want to use those plans to address those. So as we move towards COP, these plans will become more developed by the initiatives, and they will be reaching out to all of the stakeholders for support and commitment to these plans so that we can build the future together. So we'll be happy to respond to your questions. And again, on practical terms, after this webinar, we will be sharing the presentation with you in a follow-up email. There will also be information published on the website with the initiatives so that you're able to follow up with us.
Thank you, obrigada, Ana and Bruna, for leading us and showing the results of this collaborative effort. And thank you to all our speakers for providing such a clear and substantive overview of the COP30 Climate Action Agenda. We will now open the floor to questions. This is an opportunity to explore specific aspects of the agenda. Please use the Q&A function at the bottom of your Zoom screen to type in your questions. And if you're following on YouTube, you can also post your questions in the chat. So to ensure we cover as much ground as possible in the last 8 minutes, we will take questions in groups of 2 or 3 and then invite Bruna to respond. She will lead the responses and other speakers are welcome to add their contributions. Please rest assured that all other questions are being captured and will be addressed in the frequently asked questions document that Bruna just mentioned. So let's start with the first set of questions. So we have a couple here, Bruna, on how to engage with the action agenda. Some you already touched, but we have some specific. How do we submit details of projects and initiatives that we believe would align well with the stated action agenda objectives for COP30? What is the process to join the activation groups? If the initiative has not been selected to be in an activation group, how can they get engaged? And how do you define an initiative? If you want to go to that one first.
Yeah, so maybe I'll go to that one first on how we define an initiative. We have taken the definition from the UNFCCC portal on transparency of the action agenda, the Global Climate Action Portal, NASTA. And the definition that the UNFCCC uses has 2 parts to it. One is that an initiative needs to be collective. So it is not an individual business or an individual organization. It is really a group that has many of these actors, businesses, or subnational governments, or a combination of different actors, including universities, civil society organizations, and so on. The second part of the definition is that it has to have a very specific goal that is aligned to the implementation of the Paris Agreement and can be monitored over time. Why is that? Because they need to be accountable to this process. And so we're asking the initiatives not only to come on board, but actually to tell us what are the results that they're being able to generate. And this is done through a reporting process to this UNFCCC platform, the NASCA platform. So how can you, what is the process to join an activation group? If you are an initiative, there is a form that you can fill to inform us that you would like to join the activation group. We will be sharing this in the follow-up email to this webinar, and you're welcome to tell us if you'd like to join. You'll be very welcome. If you are not an initiative and you would like to join this process or contribute to this process with the work that you're doing, what we recommend you to do is, first of all, identify if maybe you are already a part of one of these initiatives. There are so many, over 300 that's already accepted and that we know are active. So we hope that by bringing these together in coalitions, we're strengthening the movements of actions that are happening, and we're able to create some monitoring and transparency to this process. So please strengthen these initiatives by joining them, by contributing your work to what they are doing, and to be able to deliver results. But we know also that there are areas that are new topics that are emerging and that are coming to the agenda, and that maybe there are not initiatives that are already operating in that space. If that is the case, of course, you're also welcome to create a new coalition or a new space to put that on the table and to put those contributions on the table. So I hope that has responded to those questions.
Thank you. I think you did cover a lot. Now we go to participation of specific groups. We have here interest from the private sector on what is the best way for them to engage with COP30 around innovation and capital. Then there is a question on researchers. How can researchers participate if there's a network of researchers to strengthen knowledge in the face of climate emergencies? And then we also have a question here from NGOs. How can they join the activation groups? If you want to address those,
And please, very happy also if other speakers would like to come to also respond to some of those questions. But I think on the private sector and capital, there are a number of coalitions, and those includes coalitions like WBCSD, like Women in Business, like SBCOP, which has emerged this year on the industry side, on ICC, which is the International Chamber of Commerce, but also a number of the financial sector collectively with GFANs, with the Principles for Responsible Investments. So there is a lot already happening in that space. And we hope that these investments will come and these coalitions can help bring the information about these investments. But I think especially on the financial side, as we have set out the agenda with the 5 axes and one that is cross-cutting, what we really want is that the discussion about investment becomes quite specific to where it needs to go and what are specifically the financial instruments that need to be in place for us to accelerate investments. So we hope that those connections going into the specificity of the area. So for example, in recovery of degraded lands, what is the financial instruments that is needed in order to leverage further and faster investment from the private sector? That is the level of granularity that we would like to see in those plans to accelerate solutions. And so we hope that they will be really not only specific groups talking to each other, but a combination of groups, those who are doing the project on the ground, those who are regulating at country or subnational level, the civil society organizations who are putting their hands to actually implement this, and the financial sector. So we really hope that this can be a combination. And equally, there are a number of initiatives that either include researchers and universities as part of a wider group, or there are collectives of universities, and equally with NGOs, with civil society organizations. So we hope that as we publish this list, you will be able to look through that and see what makes sense, what is most related to the work that you are doing, so that it's not only the general alliances of these groups, but actually with the specific purpose and the topics that we would like to advance together.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So we're almost in time. There's 1 minute, and we still wanted to ask for Dan and Nigar for final phrase of a call to action for all that are listening to us today and watching us on YouTube as well. So thank you so much, Bruna. A reminder that we will cover all of the other questions, and there was a lot of interest in the frequently asked questions documents that will be shared with you. So if I can pass on to Nigar, if you want to give us your final remarks, and then done. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniela. I just want to say that this is a very open and transparent process, and COP30 presidency is trying to get feedback from everyone. And I really appreciate this approach. So we are all here to listen to you, to get your feedback, to improve the process. So thank you very much for being with us on this call, and best of luck to COP30 presidency and to everyone involved, UNFCCC and everyone who is in this call today. Again, just to repeat that this is a process to get the feedbacks. This is a dialogue that COP30 presidency is trying to build. So please be open, and please share everything that you think is useful.
Thank you. Dan?
Just thanks everyone. Let's work together and let's implement. That's what we need. Thank you so much.
Great. We are at the end of our time, so let me close with a brief reflection. Together with the COP30 team, we're advancing an integrated and unified action agenda, one that links global ambition to local realities, creates space for diverse stakeholders, and places solutions at the heart of climate action. This shared effort reflects the call of COP30 presidency for ambition, unity, and implementation. We also recognize the leadership of the incoming COP30 presidency in bringing innovation to the process by making the global stocktake the central backdrop of the climate action agenda, ensuring that our collective action responds directly to the outcomes of Paris and drives implementation at scale. As we conclude, let us carry forward the spirit of Global Mutirão against climate change, working together, combining efforts and knowledge, so that the road to COP30 becomes a pathway of solutions. Your engagement will be essential in this journey. Obrigada. Thank you once again for joining us. Thank you to all our panelists. And let us move forward to act decisively in the face of climate urgency, from vision to implementation, together on the road to Belém.